the next level. Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to the December general meeting of the St. John's Neighborhood Association. I'm going to go ahead and call it to order at 7:06 p.m. We've got a nice crowd on Zoom. We've got some nice folks in the room here, some new faces, some old faces. It is great to see you. We're gonna go through an agenda here and try to get you out of here on time. So forgive me if I try to move us along at any moment, but that's all, you know, one of the guys of trying to respect everybody's time here and move along. So here is where we're going this evening. We're gonna just very quickly approve the meeting minutes from last month. We're going to just go through a couple of initial updates, and then we have some guest speakers from PBOT who are here. They'll give an update on what's the latest in St. John's. Then we enter our community quarter, which is a sort of a place to hear from anybody who wants to provide updates. That includes some of our local community organizations like the Boosters and the St. John's Center Community. And then we have updates from each of our board members. We do have one item to vote on this evening around an endorsement of a letter. I'll let speak to that a little bit more later on. But that is where we're headed. So with that, we'll get the boring part out of the way first and approve the minutes. And everybody loves that. But to do so, it requires a vote. And who can vote? It's really, really simple. So there's no sort of requirement of meetings you've have to attended it before, or anything like that. Our bylaws, you can vote if you live in St. John's, if you work in St. John's, you know, business, you know, property, you work for a nonprofit that operates in the neighborhood. You are a member of the neighborhood association, you can vote. So please feel, you know, like you can get involved and be a part of anything between approving the minutes or later the potential letter of support that we have. So with that, are we able to bring the minutes up on the screen, you think? Or
the agenda? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the November one.
Give me 1 second here.
We will do that. It's I've shared the December agenda in the chat on Zoom. You can open that up under old business. There is the November general meeting minutes. You can click through on that. We've shared this out before. What we do, everybody can take a quick look. Hey folks, welcome in. We got some more filing in here. Yeah, we didn't want you to join, honestly. It's the secret, you know. It's lock them out, you know.
Oh no.
Yes, Paul is our bouncer this evening. So, you know, all any sort of questions refer to him. Great.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
Great. We're going to bring the minutes up here. We're going to take a quick scroll through and see if there are any flags or objections to these minutes.
Yeah, 1 second here.
Yeah, we're gonna put them up on the screen in nice big font here. Wow. There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of the second here.
What's up?
I just gotta get it right. So we have
there's a link to the November ones. If you go to them, just
oh, the December. Okay,
there's the link right there.
Thank you. Sorry, folks. A little learning curve here.
Yeah, you know, you miss meeting in here for 1 month, and
it feels like you start over. Just need to do this.
Can we see that? Right there. So we're gonna just gently scroll through here quickly. Flag if there's anything that you see, like you were here and your name's not down. Or if there's any particular notes from the board here, and we can make those adjustments before approving.
Yeah. Maybe not. Nope, I cannot.
200 is the max.
Oh, hey, there we go.
There we go.
That's about as big as we can get.
That's great.
How's that? Bigger enough?
Great. Let's go ahead and scroll through there. Flag anything Zoom or monitor in the chat. Drop it in there. Why? There we go. Thank you. Nothing in the chat so far. That we're talking about Mike Saratella in these notes here. Wait a minute. Who's that? Is he here? I think he's here.
Is this the right? Is that how you spell that? Yays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Nothing. Like I said, this is the thrilling, really fun part of the meeting. Last call for feedback or flags on these.
Yeah, I guess technically from our side, we need to know who took these notes last time.
Yeah, who did it?
Was that you, Paul?
Well, it might have been. I noticed they're neat. That may have been me, but I usually sign them, so I just don't know. No, close your
It was Paul, I'm pretty sure.
Who said that?
That was Ryan. Ryan said it was you. He's pinning it on.
Well, I'll sign them. I don't know. Thank you.
Great. Good question. Did we?
I don't know, honestly. It wasn't in the record, so maybe we didn't. Oh, was it?
Okay, let's quickly go back up there. No? Okay.
Okay.
So do I have a motion to approve the November general meeting? Great. Is there a second? Well, any seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass with unanimous approval unless there is any dissent. Anyone who disagrees, raise your hand, both on Zoom or in person. All right, the fun part's over, which is those minutes are approved. And now we're moving on to the really, really lame stuff of you have to listen to me talk, and I'm so sorry. So a few updates from me before we get to our friends at PBOT. The first thing I wanted to talk about was just a quick sort of recap key points from the meeting around the temporary alternative that the mayor's team held. The mayor's team held on Thursday night. It was at the St. John's Community Center. Some of you may have gotten a flyer, others did not. They did not send flyers to everyone in St. John's, so apologies if you did not get one, on behalf of the mayor's team. So they passed out in, you know, a 4-page FAQ about the site, and they did actually record the meeting. We have not seen that recording yet, but they've promised to send that link to us so that we can share, and pass that along for anybody to view as they wish. To learn a little bit more. There's still a long way to go in this project. It is the main thing that I learned from that meeting. Still trying to get permits for the site. There's a lot of mostly environmental things to work through on that front. So when they originally reached out to us, they were talking about trying to have people reside at the site in January. That timeline is kind of slowly getting pushed back further, so it'll be you know, a question mark in terms of when, but also a question mark around if, mostly on the environmental side, as I mentioned. That seems to be the main question mark around if this site will happen, is the environmental side. And then if the environmental works, it'll be the question of when. In case anybody hasn't been aware, didn't go to that meeting, hasn't been to one of ours, the site, it would be for 130 RVs, and there would actually be 20 pods there as well, for people experiencing homelessness to come into the facility, access services, and then continue their journey to permanent housing. Well, did anybody attend that meeting? We had a few. Anybody on Zoom attend the meeting? And see any hands there? No. One thing I wanted to talk about and put out there, there was a lot of people at the meeting.
I think you gave it to me.
Ooh, can we just mute there, please? And I want to draw a distinction between opposition or potential opposition to this site, whether it be for environmental reasons or for you don't think it's the right solution to housing people experiencing homelessness. But there was a lot of like dehumanizing language used in that instance, and that is not okay, and that is not something that we can stand for. And so everybody can have their opinion on the site and whether it should be there and for whatever reason, but we're talking about human beings, and we need to always remember that when we're having these discussions. And so the way that we look at this is, you know, if the permits go through and this happens, those are going to be neighbors. Those are residents of our neighborhood. We need to treat them like human beings and fellow members of the neighborhood with kindness, and welcome them and try to make their time here as successful as possible. So really want to drive that home, that again, you can have any feeling you want about the TASS, but let's remember that we're talking about human beings there that might be going to that site if it was for. So any questions around the TASS at this time, if you've maybe the first time you're hearing of it or anything at all around that before moving on to any other topics?
Are we going to at some point decide whether we support it? Because it's making out of that St. John's Neighborhood Association doesn't support the project, but used to support it or something like that. Are we going to do this or no? So
the difficulty around that, or like the language that was used, it was not that we opposed the project. It was the mayor's office came to us without having told the community this was happening, and then said, get a group of 8 to 10 people to write a good neighbor agreement. So we were opposed to that process because we felt like that community forum needed to happen. So there's sort of 2 discussions. It's around the like good neighbor agreement side of things and the general like stance on the TASS itself. I'm certainly open on the latter one. to discuss if we want to like hold a vote to support or do some kind of statement of support in that manner. On the good neighbor agreement side, I know it's something that the mayor's office still wants to do and move forward with, and wants to get a group together. I think as a board, we still maintain that that's not a process that we should lead or be in control of selecting who's in that group or whatnot. Maybe a board member wants to be a part of that process moving forward. That's an open conversation. Yeah, I think there's like two conversations there. So are you interested in just a statement of support of the TASS, or are you more on the good neighbor, wondering about the good neighbor agreement?
We're gonna have neighbors, probably you guys are not.
Right.
And so we're gonna do that. And we have a process in place of anything moving forward, or we're gonna wait and see. So it's more curiosity.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's a little bit of wait and see still. Again, like we're still working through the permits and environmental, where there's a chance this project doesn't happen or that it doesn't happen for a very long time. Something that the mayor's office expressed interest in was just getting connected to other members of the community or key sort of community groups in the area that might have a representative that would want to serve on some kind of advisory committee or developing a good neighbor agreement. So viewing it a little bit more as being a connector too of trying to, who are the people and the groups in the neighborhood that should have a voice in ensuring, providing feedback and supporting in the success of this ultimately. So I mean, I'm open to if there's any other opinions on the board here around other than continuing to see how things develop, what communication comes from the city about next steps, because right now that's a little unclear, other than see if the permits come through, I guess.
Yeah, my only other thought was like if I'm just reviewing our bylaws here to see, I mean, if that's something that an individual wants to bring as a vote, we could theoretically vote on that as a board, but I think that's one thing that we've talked about as a board is like having that be more of a community vote rather than just, you know, us 10 or 11 people make that call on everybody's behalf. So I think that could be a way of looking at it as well. If we want to call it an official vote, we could potentially.
Yeah, so perhaps that's something for the January general meeting as we see if steps move do in fact move forward with the site. I'm open to thoughts otherwise if you okay.
The neighborhoods,
Or you can come up here.
Yeah, come on up here.
I'm gonna do a survey plug again.
So we've currently like about 211 people who responded to the neighborhood survey. We've had a lot of mentions of unhoused folks, houselessness, the tents on the street. It's coming in really strongly, in strongest memory, advice to neighbors, all of it. But there's been zero mentions of the TASS site. So if you're going to be taking your survey, please be specific, name specifics, talk about crossroads, talk about what needs to happen, how to solve problems, and what changes will cause new problems are both questions in the long form of the survey. So please consider taking that, and we'll be presenting those results as those come in, and mostly in March.
Yes.
It's on the neighborhood association site, and I have QR codes. They're posted around. I promise you will find it.
It's St. John's pdx.org. You can go there. Actually, we're gonna talk more survey later as well, but we're trying to basically get as much feedback from the neighborhood as possible to determine the actions that we take moving forward as a neighborhood association. So instead of trying to guess what people want, having people tell us what they want. So that's the project. Dennis, yeah.
Did they indicate a timeline for permits?
I don't. The last, I believe it was now. Oh, totally. Yeah. So it was a question about when those permits might come in. We might learn for more if this is in fact moving forward. I think, as I mentioned originally, I was talking about January being the time. I think now it's more. They're saying February or March, was it in the email?
Yeah, that's
right. So in terms of when they would hope to have individuals move in. So yeah, right, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move along, so make sure we get to our guest speakers here. So really the only other thing I wanted to shout out is we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff in 2024. A lot of exciting activities, stuff that we've done, new things. And the way that we do that is by getting general members involved. We have a great board, but this is a volunteer board, and there's a lot of things that everybody has to balance. And so we have outreach committees and the safety and livability team. Those are subcommittees that anybody can join and be sort of let's call it a lighter commitment than if you're a full board member here. Commit maybe an extra hour or so of your time to your neighborhood, help plan an event, help get the word out about these meetings or other events that we're doing, help on various projects like planning community trash pickup events, things like that. So please, if you're on Zoom, you can drop in the chat. You can reach out directly to the direct message to the St. John's Neighborhood Association Zoom. Please come up to us afterwards, chat with us briefly. We can give you a little bit more information, but we're looking for members to, to spend a little bit more time, a little bit extra time to help these projects get off the ground and move forward. So I just want to put that call out there and hope that you'll consider learning a little bit more and giving us maybe another hour of your time or so. So with that, I want to move us along to our guest speakers this evening, who were kind enough to join us, Mike and David from PBOT. Hey y'all, if you don't mind coming up here. And there's a few different projects to update y'all on, so it's going to be just a couple of different areas to learn more.
Well, how are we? Yeah. I joined on Zoom, so I could just share my screen.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, here we can get you. I think really the main thing is that's the microphone for the Zoom folks. I hope you can practice your stand up routine.
Yeah, well, we could do both. Have you done this before? All right.
Do you need this mic?
Yeah, let me just get
Mike
here.
See if you can share. You're in here. You might need to make you a co-host.
Oh yeah.
Go to the shield and like
get myself off the channel.
Here we go. Here we go. Hi, y'all we're pros.
Oh, there we go.
Is that working?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. Hi everyone. I usually don't get a microphone when I'm presenting, so this is kind of fun. Good evening. Thanks for having us tonight. My name is Mike Saratella. I'm a transportation planner with the City of Portland. And I'm the project manager for the North Portland in Motion program, as well as a number of other major transportation projects in North and Northeast Portland. It's always nice to come to St. John's and connect with folks here. And I'm here to provide a quick update on a couple of funded projects coming soon. Later this week, we'll launch our final open house for North Portland in Motion. It's our third one. And so there's lots of details. It's really thorough kind of open house. It's one where you want to get a cup of tea, get cozy, spend some time with it. But I'll just touch on a couple of things that are funded and that are in design now, will be delivered in the next year, and are really exciting. And I see some folks in the crowd who I may point you to if you want to get involved in certain elements of that. So without further ado, here I go. So if you followed the North Portland in Motion plan, we spent the last 2 years working with neighbors all over North Portland, from Kenton to St. John's to Overlook and everywhere in between, to understand transportation needs, desires, community aspirations for investments that we can make at the city level on our city streets in the next 5 years. And we've touched a lot of different spaces. We've been here, I think, 4 or 5 times, and kind of meeting with neighbors in their homes and meeting with schools and going on walks and rides and all different things. Learned so much along the way, and we are recommending about 24 projects, ranging in scale from small investments in neighborhood plazas to major projects, building sidewalks and bike lanes and crossings and ADA accessible ramps and putting trees, in our curb zones. And so those will all be coming over the next 5 years or so. But we have a couple that I'll touch on tonight that are slated for next year. But just a couple things to put in your calendar or your brain. Like I said, later this week, we'll be launching our final open house. You will get a postcard in your mailbox as well. And then over the holiday, we'll be wrapping up the draft plan, putting that up on our website for public comment. And then we'll be going to council in the spring or summer. Right around the same time we break ground on our first wave of projects. So exciting stuff. One thing that I just want to touch on, and I think I saw Tanya online, is that we partnered with the St. John's Boosters, the business organization here, Venture Portland, to apply for and secure a grant for the investments in the St. John's Plaza downtown near Philadelphia, Lombard. And so one of the things that we've heard through outreach and talking to business owners is just people want to see more street lighting in the business district, feel more secure, make the space more welcoming and comfortable to be in, especially in these dark winter months. And since that's exactly what we have put in the grant, we got it. So there's a $50,000 grant for Prosper. North Portland in Motion is going to be putting in money as well. And we'll be getting to work on that ASAP and getting those delivered in the next 6 months. So keep an eye out. Got here one of the kind of the pedestrian scale lighting that we'll be looking at. We may do something a little bit more ornamental to match the clock. And then that's from Kenton, but I modified it to be better fit for St. John's. So it's just a concept. We don't have to use Comic Sans. But yeah, let's talk about a couple projects. Neighborhood greenways. Neighborhood greenways are our quiet, calm streets. They're the foundation of our Safe Routes to School network. They're the the quiet local streets that are really comfortable for walking, for biking, just going for a stroll, getting going from place to place. They connect parks, schools, community centers, libraries, all the great destinations in St. John's. But the problem is in St. John's, there's just not enough of them. These are the ones that we're recommending. Right now, all you have is Central Avenue today, but you don't have any north-south greenways, and you don't have anything further north in the neighborhood. And that's areas where the transportation system is less investment, and there's higher equity groups living there, and we want to invest in that area right away. And so we funded 2 of the 7 or 8 new projects in this category throughout North Portland. 2 of them in St. John's, one bundle called the Upper St. John's Neighborhood Greenways. That includes Charleston Avenue right up here, north-south, all the way up to Bristol, on the other side of Pheasant. A kind of ring of greenways connecting Sitton Elementary to George Middle School at the top of the peninsula. And then we also funded a Burr Avenue neighborhood greenway, so a north-south connection from Willamette, a new crossing at Lombard, and then using the existing school signal at Pheasant to make that connection north-south in the neighborhood. The goal being that more neighbors in St. John's will have easy access to a great street for walking and biking in close proximity to their home. So first up is Charleston. We've been working with Jamestown Elementary, the library, St. John's Center for Opportunity to kind of do some outreach around this project. We'll be adding traffic calming to reduce traffic speeds on Charleston. We're going to be building a really nice new crossing here at Smith and Charleston with a median island, space for greenery and trees to help folks, and especially kids, get across that really wide street. One thing that I like to point out is that Smith is 54 feet curb to curb. It's one of the widest streets in North Portland. It's only 2 feet narrower than 82nd Avenue, right? we need to narrow the street and make it more comfortable for people to travel around the neighborhood. So you may have noticed like curb construction happening this last construction season. We'll be following up this year with the finishing touches on the corridor. So that should be open by the spring, and just in time for a big mural expansion and upgrade right out here. So this is one of my favorite street murals in Portland, right out here at the corner. We're working with Jessica and a bunch of different organizations around to organize neighbors and work with the school to update and expand this mural. And then North Portland in Motion will be sponsoring this as well, including paint to get it on the ground, but also paint to maintain it and update it as the years go by, because it tends to fade over time. We find that murals are really good for bringing folks together, and that's what we really want to do with these types of streets. But they also can have an effect on helping drivers slow down and understand they're kind of crossing into a special place. And so I think it's the right move for right outside of the school. The other project is Burr Avenue. This is north-south, kind of at the eastern edge of the neighborhood. And this is just kind of leveraging some recent speed bumps that we put in on Burr last year between Lombard and Fessenden, bringing those all the way down to Willamette, adding the shared lane markings and wayfinding signage to help people get to all the destinations that are linked by the street. And then also another similar crossing like this at Burr and Smith, which is a really busy crossing for Roosevelt High School. So all those are in the works, they're in design. Really excited to bring those investments to the neighborhood and really build out that network. And then the other project is Willamette Boulevard. It's kind of those are the opening bands, and now getting to the another one that we'll be delivering in Cathedral Park in St. John's this summer. And I have my colleague David Backus to walk you through some of that.
Cool. So, Mike, we did have a couple.
Questions on those?
Yeah, on that.
Before we switch gears?
Yeah, sorry. There was a question in the chat from Juan here. Question for Mike. Are there any opportunities for Frog Ferry in the North Portland Motion Plan?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, so yeah, let me answer that. So there's a bundle of projects in North Portland in Motion that are based around getting improved access and circulation and basic street investments between the St. John's Town Center, which is us dorky planners called downtown St. John's, and the waterfront area. You see a lot of development, affordable housing development, all happening down at the bottom of the hill. I want to make sure that people can walk, bike, that they can drive if they need to, and that transit services can reach those areas down by the waterfront. And so we're investing in those kind of fundamental core services to get people to that area. But the Frog Ferry itself is not going to be a project in North Portland and Motion. One, because it's unclear about what PBOT's role would be in operating the ferry long term. But getting people to the ferry area to a future dock is totally within the scope of the projects that we have in North Portland and Motion. I know that might be disappointing because I know that there's a lot of interest in the neighborhood around Frog Ferry. I'm interested in it personally. I think solving for transit and placemaking and all the things that would come with that are still things that I want to help be supportive of, but it's not a project that we can deliver with confidence in the next 5 years. Yeah, so in this with this project, as we have scoped, it'll still be a two-way street. I think we are in conversation with Jamestown Elementary around some circulation ideas around pickup and drop off times, especially if you've been out here at 7:48. It's very busy and there's a lot of kids and families, and so want to make sure that it's safe for kids, but we're not planning any one-way streets on Charleston at this time.
There's a couple more here, Mike, in the chat. Brennan, any thought around mural design or artist sourcing for the street mural?
Yeah, Jessica, do you want to speak to that a little bit? You want to come up? You're jumping up here real quick.
Zoomed in here.
Yep.
Our art teacher, Mr. Longfellow, coordinated last year a whole project to get feedback from students about the design. We and some students put this for that design together. And so really we're just gonna update that design. And then the artists will be probably families from the Montessori house that did it last year, or 5 years ago.
Cool. Thanks, Jessica. That's good feature. Thanks. And then is there a last question?
Yeah, one more in the chat from Caroline. I'm just reading verbatim. At the risk of sounding like a curmudgeon, I think it's very strange that PBOT is repainting a mural when in midst of a major funding shortage. Aren't there more important road repairs needed?
Totally. There are a lot of funding challenges that we have at the city. There's no question about that. And our maintenance backlog is huge. It's tens of millions, hundreds of millions, depending on how you quantify it. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a very reasonable question. I think part of what we do is that in the midst of these big challenges, we need to still find ways to bring people together and have joy, and still make sure that our kids can get to school safely. The amount of money that we spend on paint, a couple $1,000, is not going to solve our long-term funding problems at the city, but it's a way to help us connect and celebrate with each other. So I feel you. We're also working on long-term funding strategies at the major city level, but you know, this is important.
I just had a quick one too, if it's okay. Just from the Lombard at Bird Crossing, is that going to be? Is that just a new marked crossing? It's like right by Beer Porch and the food cart pod, or is that a light situation?
Yeah, we don't want to put a signal there because it will attract extra vehicles, and there's a signal right next door at Buchanan. So what we have today is curb extensions, and it's an ODOT, Oregon Department of Transportation State Highway there. So if it was a city street, we would have more flexibility about what we can do. But we'll be adjusting the lighting at the intersection, either adding new lighting or kind of recalibrating it. We'll be adding marked crossings at both legs. We'll be adding advanced signage for drivers, telling people that this is a pedestrian and bike crossing, and trying to get ODOT to let me put the green bike crossing across the street so that folks are more aware of bicyclists crossing at that spot too. But that one's not in my hands.
That we said no lighting, obviously not a signalized light that will drive, but not even that's being flashing light that the cars couldn't activate it. You know, we won't be able to go.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if it was a PBOT-owned intersection, we have a lot more flexibility and different standards for these types of things. Working with the state, we have to adhere to the Oregon Department of Transportation Highway Design Manual, which is a little bit more strict about allowing these types of things.
Is there ever in a lane with community pressure?
Yeah, absolutely. A letter of support, urging them to further invest in pedestrian safety on Lombard would be excellent, and would help us show that it's not just PBOT, but it's community wanting these changes. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're gonna do one more, but then we have to move it. So.
Mm-hmm. And you know, putting down these markings just helps reinforce the street. A lot of times what ODOT looks for is lots of people crossing at that location. And so if we make some investments to help make it safer, should see more folks, which helps, I think, them meet their standards. Yeah. All right, I'm going to pass it real quick to my buddy David here to talk through Willamette. And then if you have other questions, yeah, enforcement and traffic safety is an ongoing challenge. Yeah, I know that the Portland Police Bureau has added officers to do traffic safety or traffic enforcement. what that looks like and how that translates to safer streets, I think is still to be seen. I feel you.
All right, good. Yeah, so I think I only have a couple minutes left. So I'm going to go through Willamette pretty quickly. I'm David Backus. I'm a capital project manager at PBOT. I live about 42 seconds from here if I'm on my e-bike. Yeah, Willamette is a project I'm personally very excited about. It's going to be a great connection, a great project between St. John's all the way over to Rosa Parks. So the project is about 3 miles long between Richmond and Rosa Parks. It's on Willamette. We're constructing what we call an all ages and abilities bike facility. So it'll be physically protected using concrete traffic separators, kind of like what you see on Rosa Parks today. Willamette's quite a bit narrower, so we don't have the luxury of providing on-street parking with this project. We'll also be doing new marked crosswalks, some ADA enhancements, and investing in better bus stops to support line 44, which is going to be moving from, I think, 40-minute service to 20-minute service in the fall. So, so this project is going to be delivered in a few different phases. I'm actually going to skip the background. It was a great project that had lots of planning. Lots of people like it. So what we're looking at here, sorry to be moving kind of quickly, is the cross section of what Willamette will look like after the project is fully constructed. So the bike lanes are going to be moving against the curb where they aren't there today. There's going to be a concrete traffic separator, like I said, travel lanes in either direction, and then the cross section is going to be symmetrical. So in this section, here's the 36-foot area, which starts right around Cathedral Coffee and moves towards Richmond. It's a little bit narrower there, so the bike lane's about 5 feet with a 3-foot buffer. Where Willamette widens out, heading the other direction, it's going to be a little bit of a wider bike lane. So I mentioned the crossings. We're also planning on adding speed cushions to slow traffic. Over the last several years, we've lowered the speed limit on Willamette a couple times, but the feel of the road hasn't really changed that much aside from the signage. So this project is going to add speed cushions, like I said, to slow the traffic, but there are also going to be some other enhancements to make Willamette feel like more like a neighborhood street. It'll still move quite a bit of traffic, but let's see. Okay. So I mentioned just a second ago that the project is going to be constructed in a couple different phases. Closest to us up here, this little dot is right about at Alma, where the bike lane, if you've been on Willamette, just vanishes. And if you continue biking towards St. John's, you're kind of playing chicken with cars and going in and out of where some cars are parked. So this portion of the project is going to be delivered this coming summer. So we'll be striping bike lanes from Alma to Richmond. And what that'll look like, if we go back to this cross section, is we're going to be doing the bike lane striping, getting that on the ground, adding some crossings, and an ADA parking space for the one property on Willamette that doesn't have a driveway. So that phase will be constructed this summer. Then in 2025, we're going to come back and add the concrete traffic separators with the larger capital project that is stretching from Rosa Parks all the way past University of Portland up into St. John's here. So the blue lines here, we're going to come in, do some more intensive improvements, including IDA is going to look a little bit different after, so we'll have a marked crossing across with a large median. It's going to have a bus stop here where the bus is just going to stop in the lane, board people with bikes kind of passing behind the bus stop, ADA ramps and that kind of thing. So I put a screenshot here. We have an interactive map up online that has, I think, almost 13,000 views now, and you can kind of scroll through the whole project and get a feel for what we're planning on doing. One note, this isn't right in our area, but there is a paving project starting at Portsmouth and going up to Cary. So that's right in front of University of Portland. We're looking at doing this paving job. Also this summer, that will also put down the bike lane striping that I showed before, some additional crosswalks and ADA improvements. That portion will be coming pretty soon too. So the rest of the project, we're looking at construction start in 2025. Go to my little timeline here. Yeah, so we have quite a bit of construction on Willamette coming up. It's going to be a little bit disruptive for general day-to-day travel, but it's going to be a great project when it's done. So this is my contact info. If you have questions about Willamette specifically, I'm the main contact for that. Any other North Portland projects coming down would be Mike. So, okay. I think I did it. All right.
Yeah, any last questions?
Yeah, we have
Sure.
questions.
Okay.
Do you know the status of the engineering study that includes Columbia and the Columbia Way, the bridges on Columbia Way, over the cut, the railroad cut?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So PBOT is working on a grant right now to replace the Columbia Boulevard Bridge. For everyone in the room, all the bridges over the railroad cut, that's the one that PBOT owns. All the other ones are owned by BNSF Railroad. They're all about 100 years old or so. And so we are under contract doing some feasibility studies just to understand the scope and scale of that project right now.
And it's also your loan for grant for the rebuild as well?
Yes. Yeah, we expect the rebuild because there's I think there's two structures over the railroad cut, and then there's a third structure over Columbia Way. And so the way we're looking at it is replacing it with one seismically resilient structure connecting, what would it be, Pleasant-ish area all the way to Portsmouth. It wouldn't be that big, but it would, the kind of study area looks at that whole area there.
Now you're trying to
Yeah, sorry. So we're looking, that wasn't clear on my part. Looking at replacing the bridge over the railroad cut and then the bridge and that goes over Columbia Way.
Also, or
no, sorry. So
right,
you got it, yeah. Yeah, I got a little twisted around here. We shouldn't have named streets Columbia and Columbia Way. Yeah, it's just confusing. But I will, next time I come by, I'll have my colleagues at Wagner provide an update for me, either to give to you or him in person to share just on the status of all the bridge work that is going on in St. John's.
Great. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I would say I'm very familiar because the entrance to probably is fraud. So separately, what kind of speed cushions are being proposed? Like I live on Pleasant, and my complaint is cars are really good now at navigating things with Smith. So I thought that's sitting on you, just really adjust those to be very truck friendly and not speedy.
Yeah, so the question was what type of speed cushions are we looking at for Willamette? Since Willamette is an emergency response route, we have to include the cutouts for emergency response vehicles. Since the speed bumps on Fessenden and St. Louis went in, I know there have been some refinements, but I don't know the specifics. I do know that our traffic engineers have studied the effects of speed both with cutouts and without them. And what they found is that people who are aiming their tires to get into those cutouts actually slow down generally to do so. So either way, it's kind of like a funny game to play. We're fine with people slowing down, and but yeah, they will be the cutout style. Yeah.
I just want to, I'll also just add that as this version of Willamette will have the raised concrete separators between the bike lane and the travel lane. So there's not going to be the same amount of room for people to swing around like they do on Fessenden or Smith. We're hoping, but we'll do a post-project evaluation to understand the impact on speed, and
yeah,
we're hoping, it's the best tool we have.
Yeah, I'm not saying it.
But I understand. I've witnessed some of the theatrics that drivers will do to avoid to hit that little, little channel.
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to say thank you, and for Mike, I know we, of course, I'm about,
I enjoy your emails.
okay, thank you. And just like, I mean, I have more of a bigger go down than people, I have to say, but just like, I always say, about go down, everything you touch turns to concrete. It's like there's no, all they can do is lay concrete. The question is where they'll lay it, or how wide it'll be, or how much it'll be, or how many billions it'll cost. But that's all they do. And I really think that in transportation now, we've paved it now, you know, we took some land from the native people who lived here, and we paved half of it. It's time to stop and actually go back some. And so when you were talking about how wide Smith Street is, which I happen to live on, I was so grateful. And I really, really appreciate that. Make some of these streets narrower. And I had the pleasure of visiting a lot of block parties this summer. And when the streets were closed, people were happy. It was just the street, we could run out the street, especially children. Yeah. So anything, this is an extreme position, but anything that takes up concrete and asphalt, it's probably a good idea. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. How are we hard on time? Stop. Just have one quick response to the polls.
Yeah.
So one exciting thing about a lot of the project design we're looking at in our Portland in Motion is removing excess space in the right of way. Like Smith Street, for instance, I didn't have time to get into it tonight, but if you've seen, PBOT has a new program where we work with property owners to depave parts of the area near the curb and build out a wider furnishing zone. That's a little grass between the curb and the sidewalk. That allows for bigger streets, allows for water to infiltrate. It's just a nicer environment. And so that's going to be part of the Smith project once we get into project development. We were looking for property owners who would be willing to help plant and maintain the tree. I think I found one. But they're also looking at doing that in a couple of other different locations as well. There's, you know, you've probably seen some paint and post stuff around town. Columbia Way has one. McCrum, Wall in Fessenden has a big kind of striped out area. We're treating those as sort of pilots, and we'd like to depave and add some more green space and space for trees. You know, we tend to see that helps with pedestrian safety and honestly, like making it more clear for drivers to know where they need to go. So, Paul, you've been a really good advocate for this, and you've helped. I have you on my shoulder as I'm thinking about these designs, and so I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank
you. Thanks. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. This is the right to appreciate from now. Thanks. Thank you to Paul for continued advocacy there.
I think you guys are still sharing on the computer.
Oh, yes, Mike, I think you're still sharing on that.
You can take it away.
Or yeah, you can tell us that.
I can make you stop, I guess. Stop sharing.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So it's still showing up there.
Oh, there it goes.
There we go. Okay. Great. So we're in our community corner part of the meeting. This is where we have time to hear from anyone and everyone. We want to do a little activity during it though as well, or at least another plug for the survey. And so there's a short version and a long version. And the short version takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Take the long one. We have some, we could pass around the QR code. You can bring it up on your phone. You could have it there as a little activity if you want to be filling that out at any moment. So the first update, Donna Cohen, you got in touch. Would you mind coming up, Donna, and giving the update? We're going to have an update on the emergency route. And then if anybody else in the room or on Zoom would like to say something, ask a question, you can come up.
You want me to sit there?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so, all right. I'm Donna Cohen, and I've been working on the issue of our emergency routes. We have 2 designated emergency routes, Columbia and Lombard. And if you have not heard, after a major quake, the bridges over the cut are going to collapse, and the other three sides of this area are going to liquefy, which means we're going to be an island. We're going to be separated from Portland after an earthquake. So we had very good news tonight from PBOT that they're actually not only have done, or working on the feasibility study for the bridges on Columbia, over Columbia Way and the cut, but are going to go for a grant. So that's fabulous news. We have a much bigger problem, though, unfortunately, with Lombard, because whereas Columbia is totally under the jurisdiction of the city of Portland, Lombard is under the jurisdiction of ODOT. The sidewalks are PBOT, the roadway is ODOT, and the bridge is the railroad. So, as you can see, there's a very complicated multi-jurisdictional thing. We've been trying to work with state legislators and city people, and frankly, we're having some difficulty. So what I want to encourage you to do is to get involved. We need, a handful of people who are willing to put some effort out. I think we need to be thinking about, a couple of things, and obviously more ideas too that I'm not thinking about. But next year is going to be an election year for both city council, for our new representative in Congress, because money for the bridge rebuild at Lombard is probably going to have to come from the feds. We need to think about activities to let these people know what's going on. We maybe should be thinking about some action at Lombard. So we have a Facebook page. It's the North St. John's North Portland Emergency Route. If you're not on that, please get on that. Or I have an email list if you're not on Facebook, and my email is dcohen@heavenet.com. DCOHEN @heavenet, HEV as in Victor, ANET.com. So I also connect with people that way, but we would love to see a few more people get strongly involved to help us, plan our activities, because if we don't do something, nothing is going to happen. Thank you. And can I just say, I took the survey. I'm a very hard critic of surveys. I often don't complete surveys because they're usually so poorly done. This is a really good survey. I'm really impressed. I would encourage you. Did you create a fabulous job? I'm really great. I would love that. And I also would encourage, I don't know if you folks have done this, but because we want to make sure we get people in all our communities, and maybe the best way to do that is if Sitten and James John would pass out something to the kids to take home so their families can do the survey. But if we don't do some outreach there, make you happy. I'm sorry if I'm.
We need more.
We need more. Okay.
I know surveys, I don't know people, so if you know someone, please be the advocate in those surveys.
Well, I think the schools would be a really good. Here we go. Do you think James John would pass out a flyer that said, please, take it home to families? So thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you for coming out. It brings up something I want to shout out for everybody. We do, and we're going to be voting on one at this meeting around letters of support. And so if there's ever anything that you want to bring, whether a letter of support to a legislator or something around the Lombard Bridge and getting that done, we can bring that to the meeting. And we can have the general membership approve that. We also could have board approvals of letters of support at our board meeting. So there's avenues to lend to that. So it's often if a group has a particular interest or something like that and wants to bring it to the membership and get support there. So you can always reach out to info@stjohnspdx.org and shout that out, get on the agenda for an upcoming meeting. which is exactly what Donna did to get on the agenda for this meeting. So thank you, Donna. So anybody else who would like to do a 1 or 2 minute shout out here, either a question, comment, concern, that you want to bring to the floor, both in here or on Zoom. Raise your hand if you're on Zoom and you want to say anything.
Is this for boosters as well? Or are you going to get to the boosters later? Sorry.
You're going to be coming up, yeah, in this segment, but I'll call on you specifically. Yeah. You know, do you mind coming up?
We'll have you.
Donna, you had asked if Charleston could become a one-way. Were you asking because you're concerned about that? And I'm just curious if anyone else is concerned about one-ways around this area.
Well, yeah,
okay. So through this process, I want to make sure that there's a lot of community involvement with the apartments, the community, everyone. So that's the part where I need help because I care, and I'm also an advocate for the students. You know, I want it to be safe for them, and I've been videoing what's been going on, and it's very scary. I was kind of feeling melancholy last week after videoing it because I just saw so many situations where students were in danger. So, but I want to make sure, you know, that this is a collaborative effort in figuring out what the solution is, because I know that it's, you know, it's only 2 hours a day that that's happening, but it is very severe. So. Yeah, so with our PTA, we have a comprehensive safe street team. There's PBOTs involved, our principal, different parents. There's a few different people at PBOT that are involved, including Mike. So yeah, I would welcome input on how to engage the community on this as we get closer. You know, things are very slow with this, you know, road changes, but there are some quicker things that we could do that are more like pilots, you know, that are temporary, but would have an impact. So I'll be here at these meetings and I will be asking, you know, for input.
And there's a survey that people can fill out as well. Is it online that they can fill?
Yeah, so we're working on a survey right now that we should have done probably by the end of the week that I can share, that talks about safety issues, concerns, hopes, all that with the safety around our campus. So, yeah.
All right. Any other community members want to shout out, do any questions? Anything you want to share before we go to the boosters? Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nelly. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of the pickup at Jane John. So for those on Zoom, the question was about basically like car idling and pollution around school, around pickup and drop off. Jennifer mentioned that students they're conducting studies and sure. Mm-hmm. Got it. So yeah, after focusing on the circulation around the school at drop off and pickup, they'll focus on studying emissions and that effect there as well. So, all right, I haven't seen any hands go up on Zoom. Have you seen anything there? So I'm going to toss it over to Tanya at the boosters to give us an update.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out to all the ugly sweater events that we've had with the tree lighting, the shopping event, and then just the bar crawl that took place on Saturday. I want to remind everybody that we still have a week left of the scavenger hunt and the photo contest until the 17th. Do know that the lighting in the trees and in the plaza, they've been off and on these last few weeks because of all of the rain. But I'm working with PMO and the city on making sure that those GCFIs still get tripped every time the lights go off. So hopefully they said that they were out today and yesterday. And so hopefully those lights are on right now. But if they're not, let me know. And then the windows, I just wanted to kind of like throw out there in January, the 3 windows that the boosters paid for to get painted in order to make the on the empty spaces. We will be looking for volunteers to help wash those windows off in January. So I'll be posting that on the Instagram page. So just wanted to throw that out there for some needed volunteers.
Thanks, Diane. And thanks for organizing everything there. It's been great fun. Definitely go check out as the festivities continue. Is there any questions or anything before moving on? Yeah. Jessica loves little sweaters. Awesome. Thank you so much, Diane. I see David on here from SJCO. David, did you have anything you wanted to share maybe about the holiday market coming up?
Hey, good evening. Yeah, that's the only update I've got is the holiday market is this Saturday from 10 to 2. Same place as the usual farmers market, and it's the last one for the season. So we're excited to wrap it up.
Great. And David, when does it kick off again in the spring, the farmers market?
To be determined. We're going to spend the winter kind of looking at some numbers and see if there's some talk about maybe expanding the market season just slightly, since this year was probably the best year we've ever had, honestly. So
great to hear. It was a great year. Yeah. Please keep us updated at future meetings with how those conversations go. All right. So last call here for any sort of updates or anything. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is move into board updates. And we're going to throw the out of order a little bit, and we're going to start with Ryan, because I know Ryan has to get going here soon. And we will move down us there and move on to you, Patrick, after that there. So Ryan, are you there and you ready?
I am here and I am ready. Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for attending. Let me get this pulled up. So just a few updates from the PMO and PSAC meetings since the last general meeting. Lacey Sparling, who I believe is a lieutenant on with the PPB, let me know that there are retail theft task force active in North Portland, Delta Park, and Cascade over Thanksgiving holiday as well as the Christmas holiday. The recent shootings in St. John's are under investigation by a special task force. There is a proposed night shift focus on the St. John's area, particularly downtown in the Pier Parks Department. They are encouraging for community members to report problem areas. There's also a consideration for increased patrols in St. John's. There's also some stolen car missions covering the entire precinct, so obviously that also includes St. John's. In regards to environmental maintenance, so trash here in St. John's, there is a survey that will be going out in the not too distant future in regards to trash pickup for illegal dumping from the city of Portland. The public can also report trash issues. I will put the email address of the person. His name is Jeremy Barsuto. To email if you see illegal dumping, please report it to him so that we can get it cleaned up. He is the one in charge of that. And then my last thing is from the the captain of the North Precinct, Captain Anthony Pasadore. So he wanted to let us know that there's an emphasis on proactive police work through missions. There is a series of missions focused on community interaction all the way up until 2024. So the police are trying to be more present in the community, interacting with them, not for getting anybody in trouble, but just having their faces out there and talking with individuals. There is a decrease in auto theft, which is awesome to hear. And then there is an ongoing county-wide retail theft mission. So both the sheriffs and PPB, as well as I believe the state troopers, are working on retail theft. Then there is also a focus on Delta Park and Hayden Island for retail theft missions, which is not St. John's, but North Portland. And then I asked him last time I was able to talk with him at a PSAC meeting, just to kind of about the with the increase in crime here in St. John's with violent crime as well as retail crime and everything like that. Just kind of feels like a lack of police presence when people call 911. They don't even show up, and if they do, it's several hours later. His reason behind that was due to the distance from the majority of the North Precinct. St. John's is kind of on the farther end of it, and so because of that, when they send somebody out here, it takes them away from the rest of the North Precinct, and so that is why police are not coming out as often. The police force are also only running at a 50% of the minimum police officers required, and that he also said that there are higher crime areas in the North Precinct that need more attention than St. John's. And so that is what I have on my end. And then I will put that email address for Jeremy in the chat for anybody that wants to email them about any type of illegal dumping. And then also, if anyone would like to join the safety and livability, just to attend meetings as well, please reach out to me. Let me know. My email address is salt@stjohnspdx.org. Seriously, please, I would love to have more people attend these meetings with me, and we could also just get some more stuff done. I am working on getting more lights and more trash cans in St. John's right now. And so any additional help is always appreciated.
Good. Thanks, Ryan. Any questions for Ryan, whether if you're in Zoom, go ahead and raise your hand. In person, anybody? Yes. Sure.
It's really hard in Portland to find the right number of people. Like, our meeting in park for a month and maybe that don't meet. And so, I guess sometimes the website to see how to answer them questions. It would be helpful to have on the resource page the number that we call that email. The typical neighborhood column is talk about the survey, but I don't know. But I feel like people have a resource for that. Go to the neighborhood association website, and I will find out who I need to email or call or what's important or whatever. That would be super helpful.
Great. Thank you. And
just a word about that.
Just let me relay it for Zoom. It was bringing up hoping that our website could be nice and robust to have all the resources, all these email addresses or links and whatnot easily, accessible on there. So anybody wondering about, who's that person on email about illegal dumping or whatnot, making sure we get that on there.
That is something I am currently working on. I am putting together a resource list, just a spreadsheet of everybody that if you need something done, whether it's the lights or the trash, those are currently the two only email addresses I have. And so, but I am putting together a spreadsheet of all of the contact information of people. That way, not just board members and stuff can reach out to them, but just everyday citizens know who to reach out to when there are these problems.
I'm just gonna, just real quick, I'm just gonna plug 311. It's a really great resource. Just dial out your phone. It's city non-emergency just helpline. I don't know if it's 24 hours, but it's normal daily operations, but they'll definitely direct you the right way. And PDX Reporter is another great way to do that website.
And Paul, did you have something that you
want to say? There is a resources page on the website, and there's a resources page on the website, and on it it was updated in February 2021. We'd love to have somebody who was in touch with that and wanted to get some more information in. We can put what you're working it all together. But don't count on me to take that initiative. I'll be happy to work with them.
Thanks, Paul. Jessica, did you have a comment or question? Oh, great. Okay. Another mention of PDX reporter. Thank you, Ryan. I don't see anything in the chat or anything. So appreciate your update there. All right. And now pass it over to Vice Chair Patrick. Do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, just a few quick ones for me. We'll keep it short and brief. I'm taking in the new vice chair responsibilities. Very lovely not to have to run all of these meetings. No, I'm joking. Helping out behind the scenes, definitely involved the board members, trying to support as much as possible. A few things on my list that I'm working on. I think as you guys have known, I'm working with the GTAC folks, which is the government transition team for a new form of government, primarily within the new form of voting. So there is going to be some informational and information coming out. I'm looking at hosting an event where we could maybe rank a choice in October, favorite Halloween candy or something funny like that. So I'm working on that. Basically, the GTAC side, there's an election coming up in the spring, presidential primaries and some others. So that is prior to the new form of government and voting being instituted. So they're kind of holding off a little bit prior to getting out and really informing to not cause confusion for the next election, where really the change is the next election, the following, right, in November of 2024. So anyway, working on a lot of that. May have those folks come on sometime in the spring, speak about where the transition's at, and then look for something later in the fall where we can really educate everybody on how the voting works. And then lastly, little homework that I wrote down here that I'm extremely passionate about is our friend Mike over there. Think we'll maybe get a letter drafted to ODOT for that Burr crossing at Lombard, because that's really important to me. So I'll take that on, see if we can get that sorted, and maybe vote on that either as a board or as a larger group. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
Any other question for Patrick? Anybody, person or in the chair? We are nearing the end of this here, so I'm going to try and keep moving along. Up next, we have Bernadine and the treasurer's report. So you can come take the hot seat, Bernadine. Patrick's going to bring the report up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll get it here.
Well, hopefully those of you that are here did pick up a copy of the treasurer's report.
Yep, sorry, I'm on it.
Okay, the general checking account beginning November 12th through December 10th of 2023, our beginning balance $11,022.60. We received income from Neighbors Helping Neighbors on November 20th, $2,666.57. This is because they were dissolving as a 501c3, and through their legal process, they had to go through a whole realm of picking and finding other 501c3s that they were wanting to distribute their funds. And we were one of quite a few organizations that they decided to pick. We had to fill out some paperwork, submit it, and this is our share now that they are dissolving. This is what we received. So we're very thankful for them in choosing us to do that. So our total income was the $2,666.57. Our expenses, one of them's to me, a reimbursement for office supplies of $41.99. Next one is Oregon Department of Justice. That is our CT-12 filing. It's $20. that is based on what your income is. So if we go up a few more thousand, it'll bump up to $50, but we're fine. MailChimp is our email web services. That's $38.25. And that is with a nonprofit 15% discount that we get because we are a 501c3. And then out of grant money that we had from Safer Together, we paid to the Fix Into. We had a Safer Together celebration the other night, and that was $892.84. That money came straight out of the grant money that was there. So our ending balance, well, total expenses is $993.08. Ending balance, $12,696.09. Of that, restricted for the Metro grant that we have for cleanups and stuff like that is $3,085.60. What's left of the Safer Together grant is $4,896.89. And we still have a restricted amount. It's one check that's still out to George Middle School for our Day of the Child event, and that's $65.65. So we have unrestricted $4,647.95. So that people here that are here in person or on Zoom, I'm reading all of this, even though you can see it, because we do have some that call in on Zoom and they can't see this when they're sitting on their phone and they have called in. So they need to hear this. Okay, we have an art fund that is a restricted account, beginning balance, same dates, November 12th to December 10th, $100.04, no income, no expenses. Our balance, $100.04. Our next account is with bottle drop. Same date range, our beginning balance, $295. Various bags were dropped. We got $48.50. So we now have $343.50. And I'm hoping within the next week and a half, we should get, we did the holiday give program that they were doing where we signed up with Bottle Drop and they would give us during specified dates, November 15th to December 2nd, 20% additional from what was dropped. So it'll be nice to see what actually was dropped during those dates and receive them. Any questions? You have anybody on Zoom?
So in the chat, no.
Okay. Seeing no questions, I'll turn it back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. I heard some laughter in the audience when we mentioned the George Middle School check. They've had that for 6 months, maybe, or it's been a little while. They will cash it. They will cash it. All right. We're nearing the end, folks. We are almost there. Thank you for bearing with us. We've got Paul Ribby coming up here, our secretary, next to provide his update and to discuss the letter of support that we're going to take a vote on this evening about endorsing. So you want to come sit in the hot seat?
Sure. Maybe stand. So quickly, just the Safer Together project, which I hope you all know about, isn't over, but we said we were going to do, we would help people hold 30 block parties, and y'all held 30 block parties. So thank you very much. And I think this was, I mean, I loved it. I just thought this was a great success. And I think, so like Bernadine said, we had a get together, which we called a celebration and stock taking last Wednesday, maybe at Fix Into, and almost all the hosts came. It was a wonderful turnout. And I mean, it was wonderful to hear them talk about their experience. And we did film it, and there's some lessons there, especially about being organized to do your party. But one of the things we said there was it's not over. And in fact, if any of you want to hold a cold, rainy block party, let me know. You can do it right now, and we'll be happy to help you. But in the spring, we'll definitely will continue with this because we have everything, and we do know how to make it easy. And a couple of the hosts said what they liked most about Safer Together was just we made it easy. You didn't have to go rent barricades to close your street, which is expensive and a pain in the neck. But just we got them. We got tents. We got tables. We know. So just again, big thanks to all the hosts and all the other people, different volunteers, both from SJNA and from the St. John's Net team, who made that all possible. And then anything else to say about that? Yes, one of our last purchases was we bought a new projector, and just because we had money left over, largely because we got a free intern that we were going to do it. And PBIM said, spend the money, spend it. So we thought it's fine. So we got a 3,400 lumen projector. I don't know what this is. It's not 3,400. It's really bright. And it's like an indoor-outdoor projector, and we can do outdoor movies on a 9-foot screen, and has big speakers. And I think we just need to think creatively about what we're going to do with that. And it's not big enough for like movies in the park. It was big screen, but it really is big enough for it. We wanted to do a small showing of I don't know, a British River or something like that. We can do it, and it's really easy to just set it up, show it. So, and then is this letter up here? Yes. So Julia Bonheim, I'm changing the subject completely. Julia Bonheim, we've been in correspondence with her before to vote a previous letter of support that you all approved. And she's somebody who's working to, I think, sort of shine some light on what's going on across the river at the critical energy infrastructure hub. And she says, okay, she wants to do an event in February next year. She says it's not, she wants to have it be informational, not political, and would we support it, right? So I drafted this letter saying, yes, and I think it's not just us, she's looking at Linton, Cathedral Park, and St. John's. And she would like us to have a table there. She'd like that Nets to have a table there. And I think, so I drafted this letter and made it as short and concise and non-controversial as I could, saying a lot of our members are concerned and would like to know more because that's what she's addressing. So if we can approve this letter, that will help her get a grant to put on this event.
There. Can I add something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the previous letter that we signed was for that event that was going to be at Cathedral Park. I don't know if it's still going to happen or not, but the new letter of support that she wants us to write now is about an awareness education program. She wants to get a grant for that, and it is all about what you mentioned, like the CI hub and the risk of the Multnomah County study it and all of that.
Thanks, Paul. Any questions before?
She's not with an organization, she's a citizen. But I did look up her background, and she's worked for public interest in
the question was who's she affiliated with, and Paul clarified as a public citizen. Is there anything else, Juan, you'd like to add to that, or is that?
She's like Donna Cohen, only working with the CEAC.
No, he got it.
Great. So as I mentioned, well, do I have a motion to?
I move that we approve this, okay. I move that we approve the signing of this letter.
Sure.
Yeah, one sentence saying we would like to see an active information about emergency issue, and so there would be a place for people totally connected to the land that and to see that out, and I tell her talk to well, I mean,
have them regarding our department that we from report until the 15th of October. If we have to get the hell out of here, we then have a way to get out.
So forgive me, the amendment that it's to mention the, or allow for tabling at this event?
Yeah, just this might be clear. This might help clarify it in her letter. I'm sorry to circulate her letter, but she said the idea is to have the community feel more connected to and informed about the various important threads working on this issue. I would also like to have the Three Neighborhood Association, Cathedral, London, St. John, that and these in Dillon. I am sure that she would love to have you at the. I'm just so yeah.
Thank you, Donna. Okay. Do I have to ask for a new motion or
no, I think the motion as it is includes that. I mean, I think it'll be. I think she'll. Yeah, she's satisfied.
You have a motion.
I'll ask for a second.
You need to call for a second. Then we need to ask if they're going to raise an amendment or if there's any discussion.
Great. Okay. Dennis seconds the motion. And sorry.
You have a motion on the floor. You've got to deal with that. You got a second?
Yeah, Dennis seconded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now open it up for discussion or amendments.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if somebody makes an amendment, you're gonna have to deal with the amendment first before you go back to the motion.
And so Donna, are you moving forward with your amendment or are you fine as is? Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, and so now we can go ahead and vote. Discussion? Yeah. Is there any other amendment in Zoom there?
I have something that might qualify as a discussion. So I think at one point I got sent a draft letter, and I'm gonna paste that text in the chat just in case we want to review it and add some of that or not, but just so we can look at it.
Yeah, and her
oh, it's too long. Let me see if I can just like send it as an image.
I mean, I actually had forgotten that she sent a draft letter. Oops, whatever that one, but I did look at hers later. It's longer, it's the same thing, but it's longer, and either one is fine with me. I don't care.
Well, we have a motion for this letter.
Yeah, we have a motion for this letter in a second. We're running out of time here.
Okay, let's do this with letter.
Are you willing to table that and then we can vote on this as presented?
Yeah. So we have a motion, we have a second. So
yeah.
Now at this point, as long as Juan, you're okay to table that, we can make a vote.
Yeah. And Juan.
Yeah, let's vote.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and vote on this motion. Do we approve signing on to this letter of support for the CEI Hub Awareness and Community Education Programs? Everybody raise your hand in Zoom or in the room if you do support signing on. I believe it was 17 votes in the affirmative.
Yeah, I got 5 on Zoom.
And Juan, what's the attendance at currently?
12 in person.
You still need that?
The total number of people that are in attendance.
10 on Zoom.
10 on Zoom.
So we're at 17 total votes. 17 yes.
17 yes.
Out of 10.
10, 12. Lena doesn't know how to vote, she says. Oh, there you go.
All right, add one more.
Out of 28.
18 out of 28.
18 out of 28.
All right, so it passes. We will sign on to endorse the letter. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us through that there.
Can someone send the letter to me on whatever format and I'll get it to Julia?
Paul can do it.
Yeah, Paul will take that over to you. Great. We are almost there. Land use. Is there any updates from land use?
Brendan had to jump,
Brendan
but
had to
he
jump.
said no.
Yeah, Brendan had the lead, but he said no update on his end. He's begun researching a three-part project. Hope to have more information soon. There is one development that I've heard some murmurs on, but I don't speak to it quite yet. But we're monitoring the mail as soon as we get official notification. We'll definitely bring that to the table.
Anything on the mail that you wanted to shout out there? Yeah, okay. Great. Outreach one, do you have anything that you want to add in addition to what we've already spoken about this evening?
No, just if anyone wants me to post something or share something, obviously with like the rules that like it can't be a private business or it has to be like a community event, just get it to me and I can post it. And nothing else, do the survey.
Thanks, Juan. So an easy way that you can communicate that is whether it's through social media. You can always message our page, but also an easy email address is the info@St. John's PDX email, and then we can get it to Juan and get it out on any channels for promotion. Righty, we're at our at-large board members. Reverse alphabetical order. I'm gonna go with Kim this time.
So if you haven't heard, we have a survey. So let's assume that everyone's doing great and has taken the survey, taken the full version. The way you can help us the most is to talk to your neighbors. If you have an outlet, we have a printout PDF on the website that matches the little laminated things going around. You can print, that's my intern. If you can print out the flyers for Free at the Library, mostly people seem to be resonating most when you talk to them and ask them, because everyone seems to have really strong opinions about whether or not police are going to help us or cause more problems, if shutting down streets, making pedestrian only is going to be helpful or cause more problems. So take the survey and reach out to me and I will answer. Like that. Reach out to me and I'll tell you what we have so far. I'll show you.
Your intern is very unruly. All right, Jesse, do you have any updates for us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't have any updates, no.
Thank you, Jesse.
Loud and clear.
All right. That is everybody on the board. And being that it is after 8:30 p.m., I'm going to go ahead and close the SJNA general meeting for December. Really thank you all for coming out and taking the time, and we'll be around if you have any questions or comments. And yeah, PBOT swag. Take some PBOT swag, stay engaged. Thank you all so much for coming out. We'll see you in the new year. Thank you again.
Thank you.